Welcome again to another episode of the Smart City podcast. Today I'm thrilled to be joined by my colleague and friend, Craig Resnick. Welcome, Craig.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Craig, you've had a long career in the world of industrial automation. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got your start and how you found your way to ARC Advisory Group?
Oh my God, unfortunately, as you can tell by my gray hairs, that started a little while ago, like in the 1980s. Believe it or not, I was an electrical engineering student at a college called Northeastern University in Boston. And what happened is that it's a co-op school, so it's a five-year program. And they said, there's this, have you ever heard of process control? And I'm like, what does that mean? And they referred me to a company that at the time was known as the Foxborough Company. And I went and started my career with the Foxborough Company as a co-op student. And then I had stayed after graduation and worked my way there doing process control and DCS systems and marketing and project management. And then from there, I went off said, let me try the PLC world. So I went off to Siemens. I was a product manager for PLCs in North America for Siemens. And then I worked my way and it turned out that I was utilizing services from this company called ARC. And buying, both for process control, both for discrete control, for PLCs, DCSs. And then the opportunity came about 1999 to come over and say, can you take a lot of that experience you had in the DCS side of the world and the PLC side of the world and bring that to ARC. So I started in 1999 and to this day, I still cover a lot of the major automation suppliers. And what's also interesting as another aspect of what we do at ARC is many of the financial companies that cover the major automation suppliers that are publicly held utilize ARC and buy our studies and want some help. So we not only support the major automation suppliers, but we also support many of the financial companies that are making those buy, sell, and hold decisions, which we do not influence, but they certainly look at our research and they make those decisions for themselves.
Great. So can you describe the breadth of the automation market? What markets really do you cover for those of us who are not so well versed in the industry?
From automation, we kind of look at things in three different buckets. There's what we call also the discrete bucket, which is things like aerospace and aeronautics and automotive, where things mainly are made with a lot of material handling, a lot of on-off type of control, a lot of sensing parts, putting things together. So those would be kind of the discrete industries, which ARC certainly has a lot of strength and experience in. Then when we move is to they're called the hybrid industries, which is really food and beverage, pharmaceutical, life science, fine chemical, which is really a combination of, let's say, that on-off control, or when you're actually doing some process control itself, where you're actually measuring things like temperatures, levels, flows, for example, and that's temperatures. And that's when you're actually applying a lot of control solutions. And when you're making food or pharmaceuticals, beverages, it's really a combination of both. Then we move into the process area, which is things from oil and gas and chemical and pulp and paper, where you're doing, it's the automation itself is all really geared towards managing these processes. So the thing that ARC really has is, if you kind of look at the portfolio of analysts we have, all of us come from either the automation side of the business, selling or coming up with control solutions, or we actually come from the industry itself, where we hire engineers who actually help make cars or make airplanes or refine oil or do pharmaceutical manufacturing. So it kind of brings that whole breadth to the portfolio, so we can collaborate and leverage a lot of that background to help our customers in all those areas.
So what are the challenges to the industry today?
I think the challenge is the continuous change, because change is something that sometimes causes a certain amount of resistance for people. They're not comfortable. We've done things for so long in a certain way, and now we're asking people to make a change, or to kind of change from workflows, work behaviors, the kind of knowledge they have, the kind of expertise they have. So that really becomes a major challenge. At the same time, the other big challenge the industry has is there's been an awful lot of retirements. In the workforce, people have left the workforce. You've had people with that 25, 30, 35-year experience that are now gone, and they're being replaced by people that have, I'd say great technology backgrounds in the respect they're very comfortable, with, using handheld devices and using tablets and iPhones, and even using some of the devices like for augmented reality and virtual reality and wearing headsets. Some of them, I kid you not, they're hiring people that are like expert gaming, people that have expertise in gaming.
Right.
The problem is they know more about Fortnite than they necessarily do about refining oil. So the question is now you have to bring them into the fold and say, how do you kind of take that, the use of a lot of the technology that you're using in your personal life, and how can you now use it to apply to your work life, which now makes it more interesting for people to take a career, for example, in manufacturing and processing, and maybe see ways where they can use the tools and technologies they're comfortable with and now apply it to become very, very productive employees and have a long and a meaningful career. So we're kind of going through that transition right now.
That's very insightful, and frankly, you foreshadowed my next question, which really is, what technologies do you see on the horizon in terms of perhaps IoT, edge computing, AI may well capture some of that legacy gray hair knowledge. Right. Can you touch on some of those?
Yeah, I mean the thing with AI is, companies have been using software called historian software for many, many years. They've been capturing, terabytes of data for a long time. The problem is they haven't really leveraged it. They haven't really done a lot with it. What AI does is it's able to kind of tap into that reservoir of information and put it in a form where now you can now say, based on all the different history and scenarios, we can now make some decisions going forward. Now, what we find is we don't expect AI to completely take the place of requiring humans and control systems. What we find it to do is to really provide a lot of advice and guidance. And the way I would probably look at the AI is to say, you're driving in an area you're very familiar with. AI might give you some information like on a GPS to say how you should drive. Sometimes that information is things that you will use your judgment and use and say, this is the way I want to go. And other times you might say, I'm not necessarily, I think it's, I appreciate the guidance, but I think there's an area here where I know better. So you're using AI as like a way to help you do your job better, but at the same time, it still requires the human interaction to kind of make some different decisions. So it provides advice and guidance for a lot of the users, but at the end result, where it still requires there's a certain amount of human intervention that's still going to be required. So the future for AI is extremely bright, but we don't think it's going to be something where it's going to now eliminate the need to have the human intervention as part of the...
I agree. In fact, if I could boil it down to one word, I like the concept of a co-pilot.
Right. Exactly.
That helps you along the way. It's also something not to be fearful of, because it really, in all likelihood, will come in an incremental manner. It will be a co-pilot on one particular function. Then perhaps a group of functions called an application.
Right.
And then it will grow as you trust it, as it gets smarter, as it starts documenting your own information. Well, Craig, we're here at the 27th annual ARC annual forum.
Right.
Are you enjoying yourself today?
It's awesome. It's awesome because what I find is it's to see the newer companies, the newer technologies, to see some of the startups, to see where we see some seed funding and venture capital investment, and seeing some of these companies that are sprouting out, seeing some of the disruptive technologies that we're now beginning to see in the space. So what it really does is it just shows that the level of interest in automation, how essential it is for companies to grow and compete in the future, and the essential tools that it brings to the workers to kind of be there, like you would say, the co-pilot. And it's almost like having your own avatar, for example, to kind of help you do your job. And the ability to say, now I can put on a headset, for example, with maybe with augmented reality. And now that I'm looking at any sort of asset on the factory floor, it's giving me the step-by-step instructions as far as what is this asset, what does it do, how do I now do my job and provide me with the right workflow. And guess what? I'm now being a productive worker on an asset that maybe I've had very little experience or no experience with. But I feel good about myself because I've been able to be productive. The company feels good because I've been able to certainly produce based on my role. So I mean, I can tell you, certainly I think I've been coming to this forum since the year 2000. And I'd say that certainly it continues to grow with excitement. Certainly attendance continues to grow. New technology, new blood, new people, new entrants. So it's a really exciting time, and thankfully we're back to live events because this forum virtual event does not do justice for
Agreed.
this.
What I'm fascinated by is ARC's embrace of those cutting edge technologies, whether it be edge devices or IoT or AI or a host of different things. It's not that I'm just impressed or Craig Resnick is impressed, but I'm seeing it in the millennials and the young professionals. There's a diverse audience here that's coming that we did not have a few years ago.
Absolutely. It wasn't too many years ago that I would say that, I was probably of the average age of the attendees of the ARC forum, and I'm glad that I'm now getting maybe a little more on the senior side of the age that's coming to the forum, because and you feel good because these are the people you really enjoy working with and kind of conveying that knowledge of what you know from the past, and then taking that knowledge, applying it, letting it work with the technologies of today, and it's a win-win situation because now you can take that history and now using the tools, and because the tools we're doing, the computing tools are things that compute far better, faster than a human can. So you take advantage of the computing tools when computing is better from a machine rather than a human. But then there's that decision making, and now the ability to process that information. So now you're just making the human that much smarter. And that's what I'll tell you. That's what I find great. Is I always want to make whatever you do, whether it be as an analyst at ARC or whatever you do in life, you want to always be able to make the decision based on having the best facts. And we're having all those great facts really helps us, feel good about our jobs, making our companies more productive, and and we're seeing it in the bottom line because I spend a lot of time, with the financial analysts, and they're saying, when we're going into a recession, and it's are you getting nervous? And I'm like, I don't get that sense. You look at this forum. There's no sense of there's a recession. There's no sense of downturn. Like the companies are continuing to add roles. They're continuing to make smart investments. The return on investment on these investments is extremely proven and short. So this is a great time. You come here. You don't feel like there's any gloom and doom in the economy.
I can't think of a better way to end our podcast than with those comments from Craig Resnick, Vice President here at ARC Group, ARC Advisory Group. Thank you very much, Craig, for joining us today.
Thanks
and we'll looking forward to seeing you on another episode of the Smart City Podcast.
Absolutely. Can't wait to get back, Jim.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Craig.